very glad. I have to say, very glad to be out of that game. Not gonna lie, it was just a mess. Guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to be back, honestly. Even though making time to create content is always a dreadful experience. I procrastinated as much as humanly possible, but I actually enjoy the process of doing it, and I feel so much better after I've actually done it. I don't know if you've experienced something like that yourself. I'm sure we all have it in some area of our lives, and this is mine. So, if you saw the title, you know what this is about. We're going to talk about dating, dating apps, dating culture, and specifically Bumble today. So I'm going to go through a EV magazine article. Let's talk about how Bumble fumbled. And let's read this EV magazine article called Women Cancel Bumble and Embrace Celibacy Following Billboards Encouraging Hookups. The byline being, women are uniting to boycott Bumble and embrace celibacy as a response to the app's billboard encouraging hookups. The title is a bit of a mouthful, but whatever. This article was written by Nicole Dominique, so I want to shout her out. And let's get started. Bumble fumbled. The app has been working hard on its rebrand, with its socials recently featuring exhausted women in paintings and photographs who seem to desire chivalry. The campaign is leaning into the idea that women are absolutely tired of online dating and not having their needs met, and is a direct response to the feedback of female users who said that pursuing men was a lot of work or a burden. Now, guys, I want to say something here because I already know that how the internet, some men would respond to this. Some men, okay, not all, I know, I get it, not all men. Well, it's equality, get used to it, we both gotta do the thing. We know, guys, that we have equal rights, but that does not mean that we react the same to things. Everyone knows, or we should know, anyone that is rational with their rational brain, thinking, that men and women are different, okay? Just because we have the same rights and we have the same dignity as human beings does not mean that we will like the same things, that we will react the same to things. Like, it just doesn't mean that, okay? Okay? So, women in general do not like pursuing men. And I think from what I've heard by men, they don't really love when women pursue them. I mean, maybe they get an ego boost, but it's not exactly, it will not make them attracted to that woman either. Okay? So, yeah, we're just not designed the same. So let's just get away with this idea that equality under the law means we have to behave the same. Anyways, now that that's out of the way. As a result, Bumble unveiled Opening Moves, a feature granting men the opportunity to initiate conversations, a departure from its previous model of women making the first move. When I first heard about Bumble's rebrand, I gave it the benefit of the doubt. It is a woman-owned app, after all. Surely they would understand women's plight when it comes to meeting men, right? Turns out I was wrong. Very, very wrong. I mean, I guess from my own experience with Bumble, yes, I did use it a couple times, okay? I hated having to message first, but Bumble also kind of, I don't know, people seem better on Bumble, if that makes sense. So I understand why people will be on there, but I know that I'm not the only one that didn't like messaging first, because it felt like you were already setting up a dynamic from the beginning. And I know I have female friends that said the same thing. They don't like making the first move, but they understand that these are the app's rules, and they figure that since everyone understands that, that means that that dynamic doesn't need to be set in stone forever. All right, so let's keep going. Bumble's pivot seemed to be going well until they propped up their latest billboards promoting promiscuity and rejecting celibacy, with one audaciously stating, "You know full well a vow of celibacy is not the answer." Okay. Like, first of all, I want to clarify the celibacy is a word that's being bastardized here a little bit. People use it commonly for one thing, but the dictionary definition of celibacy also swears off marriage. You know, you bow out of marriage too. And I don't think the majority of women are doing that, but we kind of understand what celibacy in this context means. Another said, "Thou shalt not give up on dating and become a nun. Women boycott Bumble." The campaign has angered many women, rightfully so, prompting them to speak out and advocate for celibacy while avoiding casual sexual encounters. I want to say this, okay? I feel like maybe I'm in an echo chamber. Maybe I'm in an echo chamber. Maybe I am a little bit out of touch.
You guys are a bit out of touch.
I don't think I'm out of touch though. Like, just because I'm married and whatever does not mean I'm out of touch. I feel like I'm recently married. I still kind of keep up with my friends that are still dating. But I'm very glad. I have to say, very glad to be out of that game. Not gonna lie, it was just a mess. Okay, so they share this TikTok video in the middle of the article, so let's watch that.
Yo, Bumble, fuck you guys for real, because are you not aware that you can be a woman who dates males and is still celibate? Or did you just completely skip over that fact? Because right now, this feels like a campaign to encourage rapists. Essentially, what you're saying is, if a male takes us on a date and buys us a dinner, we owe him our body. And if we're celibate, that's not valid. You're delegitimizing our celibacy because you want males to have more access to our bodies. And then you think that we're gonna have a positive reaction to that? You must be out of your damn mind. The fact that y'all have the audacity to push this campaign when there is a literal femicide going on in Congo right now, where women are being kidnapped by the masses and essayed by the soldiers in front of their family members, okay? Women are having to watch their daughters get raped by soldiers, okay? Is that a concept that you guys thought about before you put out this stupid fucking brainless campaign? I would not be surprised to find out that before they pushed this campaign, they fired a bunch of women from the marketing department. I bet you anything this was a male's idea, and I bet you anything they had to get rid of certain women that worked in the marketing department to be able to push this campaign, because there's no way women signed off on this campaign, and if they did, I am incredibly disappointed in you. So I'm on my Bumble app right now, and I'm deleting my account, and this is my message to you. Your campaign delegitimizing celibacy is an absolute threat to women's safety, and I will not be using an app that encourages males to be so entitled to my body that they will not respect celibacy during the dating stage. Fuck you guys.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow, so much to say. First of all, I mean, I agree with her. You know, she is passionate about the thing. She's passionate about it. I don't think they had to consider what's going on in the Congo. I don't think they had to think about this because there are such huge cultural differences in those places. That is super normal in those places for that to happen to women. Unfortunately, we live in a completely different world out here in the West. Yeah, I don't think they would think about that, but I understand why you're riled up and had to bring those things together. Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you. It's just that, yeah, I understand why they didn't think about that. I understand that. Now, I have heard from men on these alpha male podcasts that women should go to bed with them if they buy them dinner, which is kind of hilarious considering the fact that buying them dinner is probably less than an actual prostitute that they could go pay. So essentially most women out here are worth less than an actual prostitute. That's the message I've gotten by watching those guys saying those ridiculous things. But at the same time, I realize by the internet that I live in such different realities from some people. Sonny Buns. Sonny, hey, what you doing? He's licking my shoes. You can hey, Sonny. Jean, not that shoe, okay? You can lick this one. Okay, sorry about that. My cat licking one of my shoes. I gave him one of my husband's shoes to lick. My husband doesn't mind. He's seen him licking his shoes before. He doesn't care. I normally don't care, depending on what shoe it is. But that one is just, it's a light color, you know. The idea that men can just do that, like, it just showcases how far we have fallen, man. Like, really, I am so happy I don't have to deal with this stuff anymore. But I am concerned about my future daughter or son, about whatever they have to deal with. I'm hoping things resolve, or we live somewhere where this isn't so prevalent. I don't know. As I said, cultural stuff, cultural influences, things. He's still licking the shoe. But I think in the positive side of this, how she reacted, and I think she had a lot of positive reaction from people, that hookup culture already had its heyday. Yeah. I think there's only a specific kind of crowd keeping it going. You know, the OnlyFans models, the escort types people, the podcast alpha male crowd, all those types, they keep it alive. But I think women are starting to be like, this isn't actually the best. I'm hoping they're learning from the past, from the mistakes of the past. Okay, so let's keep going. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of comments from women on TikTok declaring that they're done with dating apps. Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, and similar apps commodify people, especially women, by encouraging men to window shop and swipe on their preferred bodies. It's atrocious what these apps have done to real-life relationships and how they've perpetuated the mistreatment of women. It makes sense why so many of them say that a vow of celibacy is the answer to all of this. Now, before people get defensive, men versus women suck, men suck, this and that, I think in general, dating apps commodify every single person, everyone. And the thing is, dating apps have way less women on them than men. And this is something we must talk about, guys, because people say, well, women are hyper selective. Of course we're hyper selective on dating apps. Like, what would you expect? You're literally swiping away, and every single swipe that you go right, you get a match. So you start being like, okay, well, I can't talk to all these people. I need to be more selective. And the app encourages a very superficial view of a person. Of course, we also read their bio and whatever. But ultimately, it encourages a superficial view. And I've heard from my male acquaintances, male friends, whatever, that they only read the bio after they've swiped right on a girl. So, yeah, I think for the most part, guys are just going crazy, swiping right, because they're the majority of the users. So, guys, just come on, get off there. I mean, why? Why are you on there? Women, why? I've tried them, and honestly, it's like, they suck the life out of you. That's how I've been feeling lately with Instagram. Like, scrolling on Instagram, like, I feel like my life has been sucked out of me, honestly.
This new Bumble ad shaming women for not sleeping with the men that are on their platforms and hopping off the platforms is the reason you guys need to realize that dating apps were not made for you. They were truly made for men. Just in case you didn't know this, when men get surveyed, it's more than half of them that say that they are on these apps, not even looking for a girlfriend. They're truly on there looking for someone to do the least amount of work with. They don't have to walk up to you at a bar. They don't have to buy you a drink. They don't have to take you to dinner. They can possibly swipe a few times, find someone desperate enough to give them something physical. And that is not us, because we are being smart. I've talked about celibacy off and on a few times over these past few years, because I remember when I was in my early 20s, like in between relationships, I would usually find someone that I was like kind of dating and also be sleeping with. And then when I got into my 30s and I got separated, I just realized I don't want to do that anymore. like I did it once and I was like, oh, that really just didn't feel good. And if I'm not in a relationship with a great person, I would just choose to not be sleeping with anyone at all. And I truly feel like it has worked out for me. I'm now with someone. And if I wouldn't have had that year of being celibate before meeting this person, I probably would have been tied to someone and would not have been able to even meet them or see them. You know what I mean? So although I talk to a lot of my friends and they're still unfortunately sleeping with men who want nothing to do with them, who wouldn't give them a dime if their car broke down, who wouldn't give them a dime if their parents died and they needed money for the funeral. Those were real life situations that I just mentioned. They will still be out there sleeping with guys. But even those friends now are starting to come around. They're starting to dump their sneaky links. They're not really on the apps, or they're going on the apps and they're going on dates, but they're not sleeping with these guys, right? Because they're trying to weed out the ones that are bad. And Bumble knows this. Bumble knows that you guys are blocking them. You are jumping off the app. You're not going to take this BS anymore. We are talking about it to each other, the behavior that we have experienced, the abuse that we have experienced, not going through it anymore. And we're also realizing the good guys in comparison to the BS guys or the not so good guys. Like, there is such a huge divide between how these people react. And the good guys, they're going to see things like this and be like, ugh, what is that? And the bad guys are going to see things like this and be like, oh, what? The Bumble's trying to convince girls to not be celibate. Maybe I should jump back on that app. Don't give them what they want, okay? Do not give them what they want. I think that this is the lowest form of advertising I have ever seen. When these things get passed, they have to pass through so many different departments. How this passed through any single department that had a woman in it, I don't know. Is this feminism? Like, is this the type of feminism that we want? Is this what we want for our daughters? No, I'm telling you guys, celibacy is working. Celibate in between, finding your person, your lifelong person, the person that really is treating you like a princess, the person who is deserving of your energy. This is so pathetic and desperate. And oh my God, I hope they take these down immediately. This is so offensive to women.
Yeah, I have to say, hubby is deserving of my energy. Hubby is. So happy I found him. She's talking about her friends still doing this. Guys, why are you still doing this? Everything is connected to everything, okay? I really believe that. I think the way that your family was when you grew up, the way that you were raised, whether your mom was at home or not, whether you had a good relationship with your father, whether you need more male validation than other women because of this and that, that is all connected into why we're descending so rapidly into this type of chaos, that we're thinking that a first date and just buying someone dinner means that you should be able to go home with them. Okay, let's keep going. Bumble, which boasts nearly 70% male users, is demanding that women disregard their self-worth and sleep with strangers so that they can make a profit. I mean, ultimately, that's what dating apps are. They don't really want you to find someone for the long term, because then you won't be back on the app unless you're cheating. SEX sells and celibacy doesn't. Their campaign is a desperate attempt to remain relevant in a society of women finally waking up to the lies of the sexual revolution and its consequences that brought on decades of objectification, hypersexualization, and abuse. Okay. It's a reckless and potentially dangerous app. A BYU study from 2005 found that 25% of used online dating platforms to target vulnerable victims. Wow. Now, almost 2 decades later, and with dating apps being more accessible than ever, and this is 2005. Ooh, okay, like, guys, side note, I have to recommend this show, although it does involve an unhinged woman, okay, not a man, but still, it's a testament to show how crazy like the people you meet online. Maybe we should stop the culture of meeting people online. Okay? Maybe we should stop it. Stop that. Nothing good has ever come. Sometimes some good stuff. My cousin, who met her current boyfriend on Bumble, already had seen him around. So he was still in her circle of friends. So it might be a little bit different there. Okay, so this documentary on Netflix. It's called Lover, Stalker, Killer. I'm telling you, oh my God. It took me and my husband for a wild ride when we watched it the other day. I was like, how? What? It's crazy. And it started on dating websites online before dating apps were a thing. So imagine like how much more common that is now. Well, not that specific thing that happened, because quite frankly, it was totally insane. But things like people getting swindled online, whatever. Okay, let's keep going. Now, almost 2 decades later, and with dating apps being more accessible than ever, we can only imagine how much that number has increased. In addition, a 2019 ProPublica investigation revealed that over a third of the 1,200 women surveyed by the Columbia Journalism Institute experienced sexual assault at the hands of people they met via online dating platforms. Wow, that is a big amount. And it's safe to say that most women probably won't find their soulmates on dating apps. A recent study found that 65.3% of Tinder users were married or in a relationship. And only 50.3% were using the app to meet someone offline. I also had that issue. This is why I hate dating apps. It never amounted to anything, honestly. I mostly downloaded the app whenever I moved to a new city and I didn't know anyone, and I wanted to sort of I want to kind of just go out. And I even used the Bumble BFFs once. Didn't go well at all. It was just horrible. In fact, one of the girls I met on Bumble BFF ended up being a classmate of mine. And it was just not it was just weird, okay? It was really weird. And the other girl I met, I would never be friends with her in real life. I do not recommend. I would never. But it was so bad. But I remember being in so many situations where I would be like essentially in a pen pal relationship with these guys that would just talk to me on I wouldn't meet them. We would have great banter, and then after a while I'd be like, okay, are we meeting? And I think they didn't like that. I was like, dude, I don't want to keep talking to you. You're gonna meet me. Yeah, I hated that. I absolutely hated that. I mean, I think some of them were using it just to pass the time, have someone fill their ego, that they didn't have to meet. I don't know what the reason was, but I really did not like them. I usually ended up, if I downloaded the app, I would tend to delete it 2 weeks after. That was my usual pattern. Anyways, perhaps the most ironic thing we've learned about Bumble is that its founder, Whitney Wolfe Herd, met her husband on a skiing trip, who was introduced to her by a friend. I have to say, guys, this is how you meet people. Not necessarily on skiing trips, although if you can do that. Yeah, good quality people. I mean, not necessarily as their personality, but let's just say different circles, okay? If you're going on a skiing trip. But you gotta go and expose yourself. This guy said it. He said, reminder that Bumble's female founder became a billionaire via her app, but met the man she married on an Aspen skiing trip. Introduced by a mutual friend, most high-impact action still happens in real life. Lesson, you need to be exposure maxing. Yes, exposure max yourself. That's how I met my husband. Well, technically my mom was exposure maxing. She met my mother-in-law, and then they introduced us. Okay, that's a little tidbit of how we met. So it was really filtered from the get-go. I already knew, okay, my mom already approves of his family, which is very good for us. In response to the backlash, a Bumble spokesperson stated, I don't care about this actually. Okay. Dating apps, guys. Let's start making that a thing of the past. Please, let's start going out there and meeting people again. It's the best way that you're going to get a vibe from someone. I'm telling you, I remember when I briefly, whenever I had brief stints on a dating app on Bumble or Hinge or whatever, and I would find someone that I knew on there, it was a very different vibe that I would get from their profile than the person I actually knew in real life. They're actually good looking guys that I knew in person that I saw on the app, and I thought, wow, I bet they're not getting a lot of swipes to the right because this profile is kind of poor. Or their photos are too manicured, if that makes sense. Like the guys will post a photo on their profile, which is what they would like to see a woman post, but like women do not react the same to those same photos, if that makes sense. So yeah, I just think that the vibe that you're gonna get from a photo, sometimes, again, for a small percentage of people, it might work out, especially if you've already seen them around. Like my cousin already has seen him, already get a sense of who this person was. But not everyone is like that. In fact, the majority of people are not having those experiences like that. They're just meeting complete strangers, complete blank canvases, and thinking they're getting a vibe of who the person is by what they write in their profile and their photo. And generally speaking, it is rarely ever that way in real life. In real life, you get a complete different sense of the person. You read the person's energy, you get a vibe. I know some people don't believe in vibes, but they're real, okay? Especially for us women, intuition is a real thing. And if we get the vibe, okay, this guy, I could vibe with it. Even though like on paper, we would be different, you get a sense of the person. And I think we should just start getting away from these apps. I understand they're convenient. I understand that if you don't know anyone that is single, then it can be frustrating. But like, try to just get out there, go to events, ask your family members. Like, honestly, it works. The old school dating ways are one of the best ways, especially like through family, through friend circles. They're usually like the most reliable, okay? So just get out there and like don't let these apps overwhelm you with information, because they make you feel like there's always someone that is a little bit better out there. I'll give you one more little story time. This is not my own story, but this is something that happened to one of my teachers in school. It wasn't like a school. It was more of a creative type school. She said the story, so we would tell each other stories all the time. And she said that she was using dating apps and that she was now going to be filtering out to the max, so that if she's going to be on there and she's matching with everyone, then she might as well just go and match with the most good looking guy she could find. That was her reaction to just matching with every single person she would swipe right on. That would be a natural reaction, I would say. And you know what happened? Now she's married with children. And no, she did not meet her husband on a dating app. She met her in the pandemic in her hometown. She had to go back to this little island where she met the guy who had been following her on Instagram, and she just would not talk to him because she didn't get a good sense of who he was as a person. But when she met him in person, like that, they got married, and a few months after they met, and they had a kid right away. It was a complete change of life for her. So I'm telling you, like, you really need to get out there and trust your instincts. Don't think that because of this guy is a certain way on paper, that does not mean that he's not a complete creeper. Okay? Anyways, next video, I'm going to try to make more videos now. I'm going to talk about the red pill once again. Yay. So let me know if there's any topics or any questions that you have on this video. And guys, let's be nice, let's be polite. I know this is the internet, but we can do better. Okay? We can do better. Do you want to see my cat? I'll show you my cat. Hold on. This is my cat. This is my cat. He is a very good boy. He never knocks anything over. He is very polite. Whenever he's mad at me, he only gently, yeah, good boy. He will only gently put his paw out Please, could you stop that? And I actually did not get him. He adopted my husband when we were engaged. So, but he's become a very important part of the family, right, Sonny? My husband was not a cat person at all, and now he loves Sonny, and he thinks cats are great. So, for those of you people that are still anti-cat, go to a shelter and pet some cats, okay? You might change your mind. Anyways, cheers. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué? ¿Qué algo? Okay, Johnny.